Let's cover the basics of two-way radios today. So I get a lot of customers asking me whether or not they need a license to operate radios, and of course they ask how far the radios can communicate. Those are the basic questions that I get most often. So I kind of cover just the few categories of radios: FRS, MERS, GMRS, and ham radio. Usually they don't even know what I'm talking about. So FRS is Family Radio Service. Those radios are similar to these. They're typically the type of radio that you would pick up at Walmart, a big box retailer, come in a clamshell package. Those radios are 2-watt radios. The antennas are not removable. You are not able to program any other frequencies into those radios. And those are basically for the campsite, the backyard communication, maybe kids playing around in the neighborhood, talking to their friends. GMRS radios operate on the same frequencies as the FRS radios. However, GMRS radios have a lot more capability. So GMRS radios can do 5 watts on a handheld unit, or we also sell some mobile units that are 20 watts and even up to 50 watts. I would say that the biggest difference and capability wise is both the power, but also the fact that GMRS radios can operate through repeaters. And so we'll talk a little bit about that as well. But let's take a look at this. This is a basic GMRS radio from BTECH that we sell here at Wyco Project Supply. So this radio comes out of the box pre-programmed with all the proper GMRS frequencies for the US. I have found that sometimes customers have brought radios to me wondering why a radio doesn't communicate with their friend's radio or something like that. And I look at the programming in those radios and the frequencies are different. So as long as you're picking up a radio from BTECH or one that's properly programmed for US frequencies, the GMRS frequencies, you'll be all right. So this radio out of the box is set up here for 22 GMRS channels and the 8 repeater channels. So this radio also, you can listen to other frequencies that are out there that are in use. In your area might be the ambulance, it could be your county parks department, things like that. Some commercial businesses I have found use GMRS frequencies, although I believe they're not really supposed to. So this radio is basically good for talking. Again, 5-watt radio, removable antenna, which allows you to do a few different things. You have a programming within this radio that allows you to, set your squelch, your step setting, your transmit power, things like that. There's a voice activated feature as well. You can set the color of your screen, things like that. And then DCS and CTCS tones. So a lot of people get confused because the advertising on the packaging a lot of times might say privacy tones, but that is not accurate. What the tones do essentially is if you set the same tone in this radio and this radio, when this radio transmits, it'll send a tone with it. Since this radio is programmed with the same tone, it's looking for a signal coming in with the tone. And if it doesn't hear the tone, then this radio will not hear this, it will not hear another radio that doesn't have the tone, essentially. So it's not that it's private, it just makes it so that you don't hear other radios that you don't want to hear. I guess that's the easiest way to explain that. It is a fairly useful feature in just blocking out other radios, because the 22 GMRS channels, as well as the same FRS channels, those are all the same frequencies behind those channels, and so you are sharing that with others. These are not private frequencies. So that's a useful feature. And then again, on GMRS radios, you can use repeaters. So 22 GMRS channels, and then you'll see repeater 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. So those are your repeater channels. So repeaters essentially operate in a way that let's for example say that this is a mountain. So you have a radio on one side of the mountain, you have a radio on the other side of the mountain. Well, you're not going to have line of sight because the mountain is blocking you. However, if you were to put a repeater up on top of the mountain, this radio will be able to see that repeater. This radio can see that repeater, so you can talk through that repeater to the other radio. That's a super useful feature, not just necessarily for mountains, but just in general to improve the GMRS radio usage in your area. For example, we have several here on Maui. We operate at Waiko Project Supply a couple of readers that are available for community use. So that's the big difference. If you have a large property as well, or a ranch or something like that, it may be useful to have your own personal repeater in a location with an antenna nice and high up, and it'll give you great coverage for your radio usage. So yeah, the basics on this radio, it does have a flashlight here on the top. You've got your push to talk. This is a dual channel monitoring at one time. So you have two different channels that you can hear and as well as talk on. And if you wanted to talk on channel A, the top one, you would hit the A button. You want to talk on the bottom channel, you would hit the B button. And so yeah, this super good, robust radio here from BTECH. We sell quite a few of these, but this is your basic radio. Now, this radio here from BTECH is the BTECH GMRS Pro. This radio is really the kind of the Cadillac of GMRS radios. The difference in this radio can do all the same things as this as far as talk. It can listen to all kind of other frequencies that are out there in use as well. You can program channels for all kinds of things. This also has a compass. It has built-in GPS. And the biggest feature about this radio really is that it can be controlled via an app. So let me see if I can demonstrate that for you. So BTECH makes a very slick, well-operating app for their GMRS radios. And if I go here, we're going to see this GMRS Pro is nearby, and in fact, it already connected. So now I'm connected to this radio, and I can operate this radio via this app. I can also program a whole nother set of channels to listen to, and I can switch to those channels by going here to channel groups, switch device channel group 2. All of a sudden I've got channels on my radio to listen to that are local frequencies that I know that are in use for different things. So very useful feature, being able to program via app. It also has a Bluetooth connection. Obviously that's how the phone's working with it, but with that Bluetooth connection you can also use a Bluetooth headset as well, making the usage of your radio even better. Another great feature on this radio is you can text message via this radio from radio to radio. So 2 of these GMRS Pro radios, you can use the app, and as long as you have line of sight and your radios are on the same channels, you'll be able to send text messaging. So while everyone is talking on channels and everyone can hear what's being said, the text messaging feature, I wouldn't say it's encrypted or anything like that, but it certainly gives you some level of privacy that voice communication does not. Okay, so that's the basics of these 2 radios. There's many more features that I could get into with the BTECH radio, with the BTECH GMRS Pro. However, just to keep the video short, that's kind of the basics for today. So yeah, check us out here at Waiko Project Supply for your two-way radio needs. We'd be glad to talk to you. And on occasion, we also hold classes to explain the radios and explain all the settings and how you can get the most out of your two-way radio communication. All right, have a good day. Aloha.